Welcome to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
I am wondering, why are you here?
Hey, it's Tim. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Less Than 12 Parsecs. Please forgive me if I talk way too fast. I'm super tired and thus I'm super caffeinated. I'm so exhausted, in fact, that I could not come up with an idea for today's show. I came up with a bunch of little ideas, but I didn't have enough energy or cognitive power to turn it into a full episode. So I thought, hey, why not just share these little nuggets that normally would have been a whole episode, but for today, I'll just throw them at you. I got about 9 or 10 of them, thus I'm talking fast. Here we go. Number 1. If you listen to my New Year's resolution episode, you'll remember that my goal was to see Rogue One at least 2 more times in the theater, bringing me to a total of 4. Well, guess what? I did it. I saw Rogue One for the 4th time this weekend in the theater. After 4 times, I'm starting to see the flaws, but you know what? They all have flaws, even the ones we love the most. I will say I still enjoy the ending so much that I'll probably go back and see it a 5th time. How many times have you seen Rogue One? Hey, speaking of Rogue One, my next subject is the word force. I can't say the word force anymore. Well, I just did twice, but because of Rogue One, I keep saying force, like Chirrut Imwe says, I'm one with the force and the force of the me. I'm one with the force and the force of the me. Now, I'm not mocking his accent. I'm not making fun of him. I'm not being culturally insensitive. I just love the way he says force. And so I keep noticing that I say force now in the middle of a sentence. It's weird. Anyone else got this problem? Is it a problem? Hey, speaking of Rogue One, the next subject is something that's been floating around online today. And I could have saved this for my end of the week news wrap up, but I'm not. I'm going to share it today. Podcast legend and former guest of the show, Bobby Roberts, tweeted out an interesting thing he noticed on the Rogue One soundtrack. The track called Hope syncs up nearly perfectly to the Imperial March when you change the speed. It's kinda awesome. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out 12parsecsPodcast.com. I'll post the video there. The soundtrack of Rogue One was one of the things I disliked the most when I first saw it, but it's starting to grow on me, especially now that I have the disc and I've been playing it in the car, but wow, this blew my mind. Hey, speaking of blowing my mind, something I read online today was someone in my Facebook feed posted something about Star Wars, which happens 1,000 times a day to me, but then some jerk in the comments said, hey, if you think that, you're not a true Star Wars fan. I'm like, come on, buddy. We're not in middle school anymore. Why do people have this point of view? I just don't get it. If you love Star Wars, heck, even if you just really like Star Wars, you're a true fan, and no one has the right to tell you otherwise. People, stop being jerks. There, I said it. Hey, next subject. Speaking of annoyance, and this isn't about jerks, but something that's always kind of annoyed me, kind of bugged me, was the whole concept of the Gray Jedi. It's not something from canon. I don't know if it was in the old EU. I don't remember it. Anyway, I'm not alone. Lucasfilm Story Group's Pablo Hidalgo tweeted today that he, too, does not get the whole idea behind the Gray Jedi. He said either you're a Jedi or you're not. I say this because it always makes me happy when someone in power at Lucasfilm has the same opinion I do. Are you one of these folks who's really all into the whole idea of a Gray Jedi? Can you explain to me why or what it's all about? I'm not passing judgment. I just don't get it. Okay, next subject is something else that's going on online that I'm really excited about. Last year, there was a Facebook group called The Traveling Han Solo. And what someone did is they took a Han Solo action figure and they just took pictures of it in their hometown and they mailed it on to someone else and so on and so on and so on. You could go on this Facebook group, add your name to the list, and eventually the Han Solo would get to you. Well, it didn't get to everybody because there were so many people on the list. Well, they're doing it again this year, but with a Princess Leia action figure. The group is called She'll Always Be Royalty. Check it out. And I am so excited because, drumroll please, I'm the first person on the list. I'm so excited about this for some reason. And I've already planned out where I'm taking Princess Leia around my hometown. You'll be seeing photos on Instagram, so follow me on Instagram. I'm so excited, I can't wait. And I don't know why I'm so excited. And it's not the caffeine speaking either, I promise. Hey, a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you to everyone once again who took part in our end of the year Star Wars merchandise giveaway. I want to apologize. I told folks I would mail out their prizes on Monday. Totally forgot that Monday was a federal holiday here in the United States, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so post offices were closed. I probably won't be able to make it to my local post office until Friday, so if you're waiting for my package, I sincerely apologize. Also on the same subject, I'm looking for 2 of the winners who haven't contacted me yet. Mike Schweg and someone who goes by the screen name of Dexter Jetster. If that's you, please contact me. Send me an email at 12parsecs.podcast@gmail.com. I want to make sure you get your prizes. Hey, another bit of housekeeping. I'm still working on the Star Wars Podcast Master List. Check it out at StarWarsPodcastMasterList.com. I'm trying to list every active Star Wars podcast out there. There's so many. There's more than 150 now on my list, but I only have about 35 on the website right now. If you have a Star Wars podcast, send me your links. Save me some time so I don't have to do the research of tracking down all your links. Email me at 12parsecs.podcast@gmail.com and I'll make sure you're on the list. Speaking of Star Wars podcasts, as I build this list, I'm discovering more and more shows. There is so many awesome shows out there. If you're listening to, say, only the same 3, 4, 10 shows a week, do yourself a favor, branch out, try something new every week. There's some great folks out there. So many ideas I want to steal and make my own. And you know what? Honestly, I just might if I can find the time. But time is a luxury I don't have, thus a 5-minute podcast. All right, I'm completely out of time now. Thanks for putting up with my caffeinated babbling. Let me know what you think about any and all of these topics. Email me at 12parsecsPodcast@gmail.com or find all my social media links on 12parsecsPodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Utini!
You are reckless.
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, part of the expanded Fandomverse network of shows. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsecsPodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsecsPodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsecsPodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsecsPodcast@gmail.com.